SEGA recently announced Crazy Taxi World Tour, which is the first major Crazy Taxi console game in 25 years. And as a Crazy Taxi fan myself, I couldn't be more excited. But the wildest story in this franchise history isn't a game at all. It's actually the time that SEGA dragged the Simpsons into federal court. The story starts in 1999 when designer Kenji Kano's Crazy Taxi hit arcades. It then exploded onto the Dreamcast in 2000, and the gameplay was simple but incredible. You picked up passengers, drive like a maniac, and beat the clock. It was a massive hit, and SEGA did something unusual to protect it. They patented the gameplay. US Patent 6200138, issued in 2001, covered the game's display method and the system of arrows pointing players toward their destination. Later that same year, Fox and EA released The Simpsons Road Rage, which was developed by Radical Entertainment. You drive Springfield residents around the town, picking up fares and racing against the clock. Does that sound familiar? Because critics thought so too. Reviews everywhere described it as a blatant Crazy Taxi clone, and it didn't matter because the game sold over 1 million copies. So a few years later, in December of 2003, SEGA filed a lawsuit in San Francisco federal court against EA, Radical, and Fox, alleging that Road Rage was designed to, quote, deliberately copy and imitate Crazy Taxi. And SEGA's evidence was pretty incredible. They cited the game's own reviews, including ones describing it as, quote, Crazy Taxi in Springfield. One writer had called Road Rage a, quote, shameless incident of design burglary. The journalists who reviewed the game accidentally became witnesses against it, and SEGA wasn't messing around. They asked the court to stop all sales, recall every copy from store shelves, and pay damages. So who won the lawsuit? Technically nobody, and that's the most interesting thing about this story. The parties ended up settling in private mediation almost immediately for an undisclosed amount before the court ever examined the patent. The case ended up setting zero legal precedent, which means the biggest question it raised, can you actually patent a style of gameplay, has never been answered. Every clone, every inspired by, every Souls-like and Mario Kart imitator since has existed in the gray area that this settlement left behind. But the epilogue to this story is even better. Radical Entertainment's next Simpsons game cloned Grand Theft Auto instead, and that game was Hit and Run, which is now remembered as maybe the most beloved Simpsons game ever made. And now, 23 years after this whole mess, Crazy Taxi is finally coming back, with Kenji Kano himself behind the wheel. The only question that remains for me today is when is the next Simpsons Road Rage or Hit and Run coming out? Let me know in the comments if you're excited for the new Crazy Taxi game, and follow for more.